All right, everyone, we are here live with the Ultra Human podcast. I'm your host, Jason Dhir, CEO and founder of Ultra Human. I always like to throw that in, Tiffanie. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Tiffanie Stearman, as we call her Steers, and this is her first show today, so it'll be pretty exciting to have her on. Thank you for coming on, Tiffanie.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Very good. And as soon as she got here, the first thing she did was complain, of course, as we've got her a nice cushy area, and she's complaining that we don't have any blue M&Ms and some sparkling wine or whatever jazz.
Sparkling ice drinks, please.
Sparkling ice drinks.
Yeah.
What do you? I thought you're not drinking this month.
No, those like sparkling ice, the sparkling water drinks.
Oh, sparkling water. Yeah. What are you drinking, LaCroix?
No, this is that's called sparkling ice. Watermelon flavor, please.
Watermelon flavor specifically. Yeah. She's so picky, and as picky as she is about drinks is how I feel she is about men. And Tiffany's been single for how long now?
3 years.
3 years you're single.
But I date all the time.
You date all the time. So you're like a serial
all
dater.
All the time. I'm a serial dater.
Do you hear that, Manny? She's a serial dater.
I'm a professional dater.
You're a professional dater. Isn't that like an escort?
No, not like that. No.
You're not an escort?
No.
So you don't sleep with guys in the fisting?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Tiffany's a little bit more conservative than I am, Manny. This is the thing.
A lot conservative compared to you.
All right, so how many people ask you why you're single?
I get that question all the time.
Does it frustrate you?
Yeah, because it's what's behind the question. Because it's the, why are you still single? What's wrong with you? That's
so they ask what's wrong with you.
Well, I've had one guy ask me that, but it's the unsaid thing that's hanging in the air. What's wrong with you?
Very interesting. So I have to ask this question. We have a very special guest, Lisa Nicolette, that's going to be on the show. But before we bring her on, she's going to be ready in, 5-10 minutes? About 5 minutes. So I got to ask you, I have to ask you a really important question. Why are you single?
Because I've been a superhero for so long.
We're not on a podcast now. We're on a date. We're on a date, Manny. We're on a date.
I've been a superhero for so long, and I'm going to retire from that. And so now I'm ready to settle down.
Tim, you got to play the percentages. This is the thing. I mean, think about it. Like Manny's in here taping right now. Manny, like, Tiffany's a good-looking girl. She's single. She's athletic.
Yeah.
Right? But you've got, I mean, if she actually goes and asks people out, I don't think you get turned down a lot. I mean, do you ever just go up to random strangers and just say, like, hey, I want to ask you out?
No, it's that whole fear of rejection.
What?
She's scared of getting rejected. You're scared of getting rejected.
Yeah, it's absolutely that.
I mean, I just go up to a girl and just say, excuse me, I saw you in a grocery store. Like, do you want to go have coffee with me or do you want to go have lunch?
Well, it's also gotten a lot harder, I think, in the day and age of technology because we're so behind our phones all the time that people don't like when I pass by people at work, they won't even make eye contact with you. Their eyes are to the ground. Same thing. Like you always say, I'm a grocery store girl. I should pick up dudes at the grocery store.
There's dudes everywhere. There's 3.5 billion fucking men in this world. Like
but they're so in their head. They're so in their head or their phone. They're not even paying attention. And for me, the biggest thing is I have to be able to make eye contact with somebody first. I mean, there's still always going to be the fear of rejection, but people don't even make eye contact with you anymore.
True, that is true. I will tell you two stories. Actually, there's a guy, a friend of mine, his name's Brad. Really good-looking dude. Young, hot-looking guy, like really in shape, takes care, extremely intelligent. This guy has to find people. He looks for people on an app, and he's in downtown New York. And I can't understand this. So I asked his sister, I said, listen, how is your brother, like, not picking up tons of women, like, wherever he's at? He goes, he meets women. But the problem is everybody walks in New York with their head down like this, staring down. So there's no eye contact. There's no way of somebody's so engaged. They're already almost engaged the entire time. And there's not any really communication. I saw the same thing in Vegas when I was in Vegas. Like I went in clubs and it's changed now. People actually don't go to a club to party. They go to a club to take selfies.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so they can post it on Facebook and tell all their Facebook friends what they're doing.
And tell their Facebook friends where they're at.
Yeah,
interesting.
Absolutely.
Well, do you have any dates lined up this week?
I don't. I'm taking a break for the holidays.
You're taking a break. Somebody's going to be watching this. If you're out there, you could definitely reach out to me, jason@jsteer.com, and I'll actually broker the dating services now to Tiffany.
Oh, yeah. Money
I
for
actually
that,
made
then.
a bet. Actually, last night, I made a bet with Tiffany that I'm going to give her this guy's number, and I said, you just need to, and she thinks this guy's really hot. I said, I want you to text this guy, and if he does not text you back and accept, you get $100. I got a $100 bet with this girl, Manny, that this guy will say yes, going out with her. Casinos have figured this out. They've figured out that, and I've learned this from some of the best CEOs. I've worked with a lot of CEOs and executives and presidents of companies, and I'm very fortunate to have this experience underneath my belt. And anyone I mentored, I learned that these guys will just keep going the distance. So they have actually figured out the exact percentage of acceptance, like publishing a book. If you go and get a book published, and you go to, let's just say 5% of people get their book published, right? then if you go to 20 publishers, you have a really high success rate. But you've got to be prepared to get rejected 19 times.
Yeah, J.K. Rowling's, I forget
right?
how many times it was, but she was rejected several times before she got the acceptance.
Exactly.
So yeah, and look at her today.
Absolutely. So here's an interesting statistic, and I don't have the statistics in front of me. There was a guy on a college campus that went and flat out went up to 19 girls on campus and asked out 19 girls to see if they would have sex with him. Today. Of the 19, 6 said yes. But to really think about this. So I think the people that are really succeeding in any area of life are the people, as J.K. Rowling's publishing a book, or whether it's a guy with a relationship, or this guy's trying to get laid, whatever. It's people that are willing to go the distance to overcome some of these percentages. I really think your percentages going up to a single guy are probably 80%.
Yeah, you might be right. I've never tried it.
Single men would actually go.
Yeah, you're probably right. I've never tried it, though. Yeah.
This is going in the books. This is what we have to do next time.
It's like that whole rejection thing that I was sent you the video of that guy that was doing the TED Talk. That was his whole thing. He was like, I'm just going to test the percentages for 100 days. I'm going to do things that I think I'm going to get rejected for.
Tell me what this guy did. You did send me the video. I didn't see the video.
Yeah, so he was afraid of being rejected. It was one of his biggest fears, and he felt like it was holding him back in life. And so he spent 100 days doing things that he absolutely thought that he 100% was going to get rejected for. And what he found out was a lot of the things that he actually thought he was going to get rejected for, he didn't. So, like, for instance, one of the things was he was like, he walked into a Starbucks and he was like, hey, I want to be a greeter at Starbucks today like they do at Walmart. And he thought for sure that they were going to say, absolutely not, that's not going to happen. And they actually let him do it. So
Starbucks just let him be a greeter.
They let him be a greeter. And so it was just all these random things like that he absolutely thought that they would say no to. And what he ended up finding out was a lot of this is this perception in your head of what the outcome is going to be. And the outcome, you don't know what the outcome is going to be until you ask.
What percentage of days do you think that he didn't get rejected?
I don't know, because I haven't watched all of the YouTube videos.
Maybe
but he has a YouTube video. He videoed himself every day doing it.
So why didn't you go ask 100 guys out and see how many guys go?
I don't know. Well, that's what I said after I saw this. I'm like, maybe I need to spend 30 days just asking a guy out every day.
I'm telling you, Stephen. I'm telling you. You grab your balls and do it.
Yep.
People are so enmeshed into like Tinder, and it's so easy just to say no. It's a swipe, and they don't even know. This is like all we do anymore. It's like online date.
Oh, yeah, it's this, swipe left or right, and that's how people decide if they're going to date in this day and age. But, back in the day when you didn't have all of that, what did you have to do? You had to go up and ask somebody out.
Well, I think people build a rapport. You got to build a rapport with somebody.
Yeah.
You go out one time, you have a cup of coffee, it's harmless, people go, and they're more entrenched in the relationship, they're more they're more present. People are just not present anymore. They're still addicted to their phones, or they're still addicted to being on social media, whatever it is, and they're always looking for the next best thing.
Absolutely.
I cannot tell you, one thing I learned from a friend of mine that owns clubs, and he's on clubs in the city, clubs, bars, restaurants. He's a real nightlife mogul, so to speak. He told me 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when texting started coming out, and people just, texting in Europe was a lot bigger than it was here at that time. America was like a few years behind. But he was always talking about the fragility of people's attention with
horrible
the ability now to text someone and say, hey, where are you at? Oh, I'm over at this other club that's really banging. You guys got to come down here. And people would just pick up their shit and go. And, people were stuck in this spot and had to make it work back in the day, because unless if they physically go call somebody, and they kind of call, without the technology, a lot of people didn't used to carry their phones with them, that they would be stuck in this one place, and that's kind of where they went.
Or they had to go home and check their answering machine to see if someone called them.
So this is actually like the paradox, is that, technology has created a ton of freedom, but it's also like it's costing us sort of this kind of caging as well. We become so addicted to our phones. We become so addicted, and again, like my friend Brad, and even like in your situation, it's very hard to meet people when they're constantly on their phone. So we've really lost a lot of freedoms. We've also gained the ability of choice. I mean, now we can go on things like Yelp. We can go and Google, and we have choice of what we buy, where we buy it, who we go see. I mean, the volume of stuff is just kind of cranked through the roof.
It is, but again, it's like some of those conversations that you and I have had in the past. The communication has broken down because you can't read somebody's body language in a text message, and the level of intimacy and vulnerability isn't being broken down, because people will say stuff via text message that they are not going to say to your face.
Yeah, totally.
Or, over social media. They'll say something that they don't have the courage to say to someone's face.
We've just become like a lazy dating society.
Oh, it's very lazy dating society. I agree. But there's also still that innate, yearning, I think, that is built in us from our birth. And I don't care who you are, what country you're from, what race you are, what, gender you are. People want to connect with people. I think the level of connection has changed a little bit because of social media, but people still have that desire to connect with someone.
Yeah. I got to tell you this. A few episodes down the road, we have not scheduled this yet, but we have some guys that come in on the show that have developed some next level artificial intelligence. And I've got to tell you, it's unbelievable. Like, artificial intelligence really is like the next big wave of everything. I think it's even going to go bigger than social media and whatnot. But they've created online bots, ultimately, that can go and have conversation. And if you look at the conversation, there's zero conversation difference. Sometimes we're even online having conversations with bots, or what they call them humanots in their field. They literally have trained the bot to have a full-blown conversation. You cannot tell the difference. I mean, this bot can be having a conversation about political topics such as anything from racism to Hillary versus Trump to the artificial intelligence itself to political things going on like the cannabis laws changing and stuff like that. And you really can't tell any difference at all. And I'm convinced that the more we talk to bots online and the more we kind of raise the bar with artificial intelligence, that people ultimately are going to, as crazy as it sounds, literally start dating and sexting and doing all this stuff. Actually, artificial people that they can create.
But how can you hug a bot?
I'm not saying you can hug a bot. I'm not saying that. But, I mean, people...
come on.
People are developing things like sex dolls that look exactly like human beings. I mean, it's scary.
Which is
and the
disgusting.
more you end up talking to a sex bot, the more you actually starts learning. It starts feeding off your information.
I get that, but still.
We get to the point that's so realistic. I mean,
we need
Japan
physical touch.
I understand, but as lazy as we are, we're already on an app.
True.
I mean, who's to say at some point, and I'm willing to bet this. In fact, Stammen, you already have your $100 bet. You can reinvest this bet because I know I'm going to win this bet. I know I'm going to win this bet, Maddie, okay?
Double or nothing.
Double or nothing. I'll give you 100 to nothing on this, okay?
All right.
Within the next 3 to 5 years, I think it could happen in 3 years. If laws stifle us a little bit, it could take as long as 5 years.
Okay. Some
guy out there, or some girl, could be either way, they're going to make this AI so advanced, okay, and so realistic. Like, the technology of physically making the bot is also coming alive. So not only do we have the digital virtual bot, we have the actual physical bot. Somebody out there is going to have a relationship, full-blown, with some AI bot. And then they're going to want to marry the bot. And they're going to go to court with this AI bot, humanoid, whatever we call this. They're going to call this thing like Lisa or Carrie or whatever the fuck it is, right? Then what's going to happen is they're going to go to court, and the bot, and they're going to get shut down. You cannot marry this artificial intelligence bot. The guy will then go to trial to the fucking Supreme Court saying, no, this is actually a real person. And the bot is going to get tried. We will actually see a robot getting tried of whether they're human or not, whether they're technically within the next 5 years, I guarantee it. This will be the biggest. This will be the biggest case. This will be the biggest case all over TV. Like, fuck O.J. Simpson. This will like blow everything else out of the water. I mean, look at all the transgender stuff going on. I mean, we never thought this type of stuff would happen. So, eventually all races became equal. Eventually all of the gays and lesbians and everything else became equal. And the bisexuals and everything else and preferences. Now we've got to a place where now we're like literally like the gender. And this is a whole separate discussion for a different day. But the genders are becoming like skewed. Now, at what point?
Yeah, there's a blurring of the boundaries for sure.
And animals, and everything's just kind of becoming one. Like, animals have, and I'm all for this, by the way. I'm totally for this. Like, I'm a huge animal rights activist. I believe that, like, animals should have the exact same rights as human beings. So, I'm with you on that. But at what point do we start creating these things? I mean, I know I've seen this shit. There's a show called My Weird Fetish or some shit. I don't know what it's called. Like, people like literally this guy's like in love with this car. I mean, we're fucking already there. I mean, people are weird enough.
This is true. That's my point. Some people are replacing humans with animals, whatever. And
exactly.
Like if they feel like they can't get the human connection, they're connecting on some level. So you're probably right. They could feel like there's this connection with this bot.
Yeah, we all end
it just seems a little fucked up to me.
It's very fucked up. But I mean, some guy can literally create this perfect woman. Mentally, he can train her to be whatever you want. Hello, Roger. I'll give you whatever you like. And then physically, he can actually create the bot the way exactly how he wants it to look.
So it's a complete controlled situation.
It's a fucked up situation, is what it is. But I still think in the next 3 to 5 years, it's going to go to a higher level, which is now we're going to start questioning whether this part should be tried or not. This is going to be the real separation. Like all these things we see in movies is going to come true. It's nuts.